recording. So, Mike Gibson, what's your language?
Right.
And others. Right, so what I've done is I have done some notes on the marking sheet for each sample, and then as we agree a mark, I'll amend so that we've got a kind of definitive version. That's the hope.
Where are they? Sorry.
Well, you won't be able to see it because you're dialing in, but it'll be on my screen, so I'll save it once we've kind of agreed what the mark is and the justification, and then I will upload all of that for you. So you'll be able to see. We should kind of say as well that obviously these poster presentations were done last year as part of the ESUS 1, so they're not kind of in terms of the amount of in terms of the amount of research that's been done and the kind of general knowledge of the topic. It's probably, it is weaker than you would expect for the coursework. Sorry, for this exam 3.
Was it not pre-masters?
It was pre-masters, but it was ESUS 1, so it was them given a topic that they had to research, and they were only given kind of 2 weeks to do it, sort of thing. It was done as a kind of standalone assessment. It wasn't linking into anything, so it wasn't their area of research. It wasn't linked to the coursework 1 where they had to find sources or anything like that. So
that affects the third last, because she kept saying it's not my topic, and we understood it to mean that she wasn't capable of talking about it, but it actually wasn't her topic.
It wasn't her general area. Well, I'm not sure. Yes, I'm not sure whether she actually meant I haven't prepared an answer for that, or whether she meant...
I thought that the question was off topic.
Oh, the question.
Yeah, that's how I've understood it too.
That's what I understood, yeah.
Okay, but right. So if we'll just have a look. So post presentation 1 was done by the boy Rui Min. Okay, so if you can see the so we've got quite a range there. So some people thought 60 to 69. This is in terms of content and delivery. 20% thought the 50 to 59, and 53% thought 40 to 49. Okay, so if we look at the descriptor for the kind of the majority got the 40 to 49 for pre-masters, which would bring him down, which would be. So I would argue possibly, and I'm not sure what people think, the 50 to 59 and above indicates very good level of knowledge, evidence of critical engagement. I'm not sure he demonstrates that. Really, does anyone? So just in terms of his topic. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Oh no, that's his overall. So in terms of his use of visual aids, we have to kind of assume that the visuals were okay, because we can't really see those. So I suppose as a tip, when people are recording the poster presentations, it would be good to have a close up of the actual poster presentation, so we can see what it is.
It's possible, though, that about the visuals, seeing as he wasn't referring to any particular facts, figures, statistics or anything, we can also probably assume that the visuals weren't really showing any clear sort of evidence or research, I would imagine. Otherwise, because some of the questions were quite probing. I thought the questions the other students gave could have led him to explain things in more detail if he had the information, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And so his answers remained very, very superficial.
Okay, so we had, I've put him in, so if we maybe want to, so overall, for the content and delivery, I'd put him as the 40 to 49 bracket, so in line with this 53% of people. So I put visuals okay, possible loss of audience attention, because he doesn't answer the questions well. So he got in the 50 to 59 band for his actual, for the use of visuals, because we've got maybe some loss. I don't know if we want to maybe knock him down and say, put him in the there was some loss of audience engagement. I mean, there's a girl twiddling with her hair. It's a bit tricky because
I thought that meant his engagement with audience actually, because he was not really
he keeps
looking at
saying,
them.
Okay, let's knock him down.
And he keeps saying that mobile phones change the way that news is given out, and then they keep asking him, well, what about BBC reporters? What, you know, they can give videos and pictures and information, and he just sort of says, well, this is the new way of doing things, but he doesn't justify it in any way.
Yeah.
And I think he loses their attention because they're asking interesting questions, and he's not actually giving the answers to them.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll
Because he doesn't know.
take out possible and put loss of audience attention, partly because doesn't answer questions well. Okay. So content and relevance. So for that, again, I put in within this 40 to 49. Can be followed, but appears to have prepared what he can answer. Main points are made well, but some points tend to be repeated. Any comment on whether we think? I think he fits in there rather than the basic prepared presentation, because he does say things spontaneously. It's not completely prepared and it's not read, so we can't kind of knock him down to the 30s. But I don't think he really justifies being above there, because I don't think the points are explained with reasonable precision. I think it's pretty vague, and he actually answers questions where...
Yeah, I didn't actually understand one of his answers, where I think somebody asked him a question, and then his voice kind of tapers off, and I think he says, I can't actually answer your question.
Yeah, he says,
and I'm not
speak
sure
to you at
because
the
I didn't really understand what he said, but you had the impression that he wasn't answering the question.
Yeah,
or
no,
that
I think...
he kind of...
There's a case where he says, I can't answer that, can I come back, can I talk to you about it later? And then there's another question that he's asked about TV reporting, and he starts talking about newspapers, so he doesn't answer her questions. So so whether we actually want to knock down his answering question ability down to 30 to 39 there, which would mean able to answer clear questions, or possibly even the 20s, able to answer some clear questions.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you think, down to the 20?
Yeah.
Some?
No, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
It's only one, but yeah, okay. 30 to 39, because he's... yeah, because I suppose the 40 says able to answer most follow-up questions, and he can't actually answer most of them, can he?
No, he doesn't.
So, some but not all. Okay. Right, so I will go through that in a sec. Okay, for his accuracy and precision, let's have a look what people said. So the majority put him in the 50 to 59 bracket.
How many fortunes, huh? And the audience
says higher, lower. Yeah, do it that way. So we put ability to explain points. So we put main points generally clear, doesn't demonstrate, attempt to ensure audience. So generally clear, I think. If we just do the overall and then see if there's anything that people disagree with. So we've got, some people put him in the 40 to 49. Do you think the 50 to 59 bracket is too high?
Yeah, I do,
Yeah.
I don't think I explained things clearly enough to the end.
Okay, so I'm marking down in that one. And says, should we say attempt but not?
It says explains the main points relating to an idea, problem or argument. I'm not sure he had very clear points to relate.
Okay,
and I think this is the problem, where the lack of research feeds into the language marks. So, I mean, he's supposed to be explaining ideas and clarifying them, but he's not, because he doesn't have the information to give.
That's true, but to be honest, when I watched it, and I haven't done any research on that, and I could have given a better explanation.
Yes, exactly.
You could, off the top of your head, when someone said, what do you think about the... do you think that the BBC is basically an unreliable source? And he says it's a source or something. You could say, there are different. He says something about government, doesn't he?
Put him high. I think if anything, he needs to be brought down there, because Because he's not managing to explain key points at all.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so we'll knock him down there. So that will knock him down overall.
Because
Okay.
the difference is whether it's reasonable precision or clearly, or do you see what I mean?
Yeah. So let's knock him down to 10 overall then, and that will make him sort of more borderline. So for range, I had appropriate. He does use some complex structures. Says if people didn't have mobile phones, the world couldn't know the truth. But there is I think, more of a reliance on shorter sentences. So he does demonstrate that he can say more than kind of a very simple sentence. So I think he's in the 50 to 59 there. He's got kind of appropriate range, but with limited flexibility. He's not able to spontaneously use complex sentences very well to show that he's got any kind of good grammatical control, but he doesn't just use simple sentences.
Yeah.
So I think he's in the 50s there. And errors, so again, I think majority of us put him in the 50s there because there are errors made. They're not limited to the complex thing because it's more faster and various things, but they're generally not. That doesn't mean that you can not understand him generally. So in the 50s there. So that would make him. So that that would make him still 10.75. Is that right?
This is one of the ones where some of the descriptions are exactly the same, 3 bands.
For some of not
style and register may be variable and sometimes inappropriate is in 3 different bands.
Yeah.
Same wording.
But you've got differences in the other bits about whether they can overcome. That's the next one. Sorry, if we have a look at the range.
Yeah, no, sure, but it's still.
There isn't overlap there because you've got appropriate range, acceptable level, and whether there's with limited range or not, and whether or not they do cause or do not cause. Hang on, there is a code, but do not generally. Oh, that's a bit unclear. I need to rephrase that. Make frequently, rarely cause. So, but between, it's not going to make much difference, to be honest, when you calculate the overall, and also they fit into one of those bands overall, I think.
So Vic, sorry, where are you thinking of putting him then on the range?
So on the range, he is now on the range. Hold on.
About borderline 10.
Sorry, we've not got to range yet. We're just looking at accuracy. So he was 10. So so 10 for the accuracy. For the range, most people have put him in 50 to 59. So that's not quite the B2, not B2 plus. So I need to knock this down a bit, I think. So ability to discuss topic clearly, use of topic-specific vocabulary. I thought he does attempt to use some specific. He says remote areas spread the truth. Mobiles have more functions than traditional industries. I think it's sufficient.
Very specific.
Well, it's sufficient to discuss the topic. He's got,
but he does repeat
minutes.
the same ideas several times.
It's not ideas without
his
there,
only point.
It's
No, but what I'm saying is because he repeats the same ideas, he doesn't have a range of vocabulary, so he's repeating the same words over and over again.
Okay, so we can knock him down then to sufficient but limited. Lexis, okay, which will bring him down to 40 to 49 there. Which one bring him down to 1.2. Ability to, he does seem to struggle for words in places, able to use but able to find a tendency to repeat a familiar word rather than rephrase. So that put him in.
That's about right, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, leave him as there. Sorry, that should be quite one. And use. So I thought the style and register was appropriate. I mean, his language is slightly repetitive, but that is appropriate.
Yeah.
So that would make him. Let's knock him down then. So he's got one that's 40 to 49, one that's 50 to 59, and one that's 60 to 69. To give him the bottom of the 50 marks, to give him a 10. Okay. Right, fluency. So this is where we've broadened the kind of descriptors, because there was so little difference between them, and actually on the CFR descriptors there's only a kind of borderline, or there's B2 and then there's B2 plus as a distinctive level. So
can you explain how this works a bit more? Because
which on the marking scheme.
How do we apply it?
Between a 14 and a 17.5, it just seems. It's not the same as the others, basically, so I was a little bit confused.
Ah, right. The reason for that is because the others are kind of broken down kind of more distinctly, because there are lots of other descriptors that we can use to kind of differentiate between kind of the top end of B2 and the bottom end of B2. With pronunciation, the descriptors were overlapping. Basically, can be understood without any problems, can be understood with some effort, which is the B2 band, or is generally quite difficult to understand, which is B1. So there are only kind of really, it's a can you understand them without effort, some effort or no effort, because when you looked at the descriptions, they were so negligible in their difference that, and mapping it to CFR, there wasn't an obvious, there wasn't one that was pinpointing it. So I thought I'd just try not to make it quite so.
But how do we score it then?
So we decide whether they're bottom end of, or we can only do the sort of bottom end of one, middle. So the bottom mark for each one, I suppose, or the middle mark for each one. So if they're so for his fluency and Kieran's, I put he's able. There are bits where he produces stretches of language, but he's hesitant in places. There are noticeable pauses. So we would put him kind of middle of that scale, middle of B2.
Yeah, about 55-ish.
Yeah. So let's put.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
About 55 for that. Okay. And then use of discourse markers, limited evidence due to tendency to produce fairly short sentences, so he has to be the bottom end of that. He does use some, but he's lower end, so we give him 40 for that.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so that between the 40 and the 50, so that will give him, that'll bring him down to 8.75. Get rid of that. Okay, and then for
for the first one, produce language, you'd be giving him like 0.75.
Sorry, say again, Sarah. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
So for fluency,
yeah,
produce stretches of language, blah 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 blah. We thought he was sort of in the middle of the two.
Yeah.
So you said 55. Does that mean 10.75?
That means.
Oh yes, that's how we.
Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. 10.75 for that. Yes. And then for the use of discourse marker is at the lower end, so I've given him 40, so that would be 8 marks.
Okay.
So then
we're still using there's actually 6 points still available for fluency.
If we want to, I think we probably need to clarify this for tutors so that we don't end up with all kinds of different gradations. I think we just decide basically which, because for fluency they're either at the B2 plus level, which say the B2.2, the 60 to 69, and if they're in the 40 to 49, 50 to 50, the lower end of B2, maybe we say the marks are either 8, 10, or 11.5, I suppose, as whether they're bottom, mid, or top of that. Does that make sense? So we'll kind of, I'll make a note to clarify that for that band they can only have the 3 marks out the bottom, the middle mark, or the top mark.
And that would apply to the other ones where we've got one for the...
And then for prawn, we've got kind of, everyone has put him in the B2, but presumably lowest end, so he's got a 10 for there. Generally comprehensible, occasional lack of clarity. And for stress and intonation, acceptable, but some careful listening required. So we're saying a 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that will make him end up now with 8.75. That'll make him end up with 48. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me just make a highlight there. Okay, I think there was generally more agreement for the second girl. Let me have a look at what I put there. Sorry, let me show that. Okay, so for the second girl, which was Laura, if I can just go back to the poll for people who can see. Okay, so we had a bit of a we had a bit of a split between whether she was C1 for content, 70 to 79%, more accurately, or whether she was 60 to 69% for her content and delivery. So I put her as 13.5, which means top end of B2.2, but the majority of people thought she should be marked higher for her content. So I'm
it was guesswork, to be honest, because you can't see it.
You can't see the visuals, but she does refer to it throughout, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to assume it was, obviously that, ideally. But for content and relevance, I put points clearly made and supported. Oh, I'm echoing from somewhere.
I was going to say that it's terrible echo.
Sorry, is that an echo? Can you put? This is awful, the echo. I don't know if it's because Simon's in the same room as me and it's picking up. I don't know then. Okay, so visuals good. We assume points clearly made and supported, so she gets in a 60 to 69. Answers questions clearly and spontaneously, so 60 to 69 again. And knowledge, and she would get 40 to 49. So that kind of brought her down slightly, because I don't think in terms of her knowledge of the whole topic, she really demonstrates.
No, that's true. She couldn't go into it in depth, but she was referring well to the poster and, sort of the you can see here, and she was pointing to bits of it, and she had definitions which seemed useful. Is it me, or is there a funny squeaking in the
No, there was a really weird squeaking sort of feedback then. Oh God, let's try and get through this as quickly as possible. So, shall we say 13.5, which would put her at kind of top end of B2.2 then, so between those. Okay, good. Right, her accuracy, I put her in just into the C1 band here, where her message is clear, does reformulate to ensure
Yeah, she does. She does reformulate, and she defines, and
So B, okay, so just sorry, reading that.
We had a higher, but again the bands are partly the same.
So should she come? Okay, so the C1 band for the kind of ability to explain points clearly bit. The range of structures, I put good range, good, not without error, but good level of controls. And I didn't think she went into the C1 quite for her kind of evidence of her, complete control and her accuracy, but she does use a good range, and it generally is clear. So B2.2 for that. Effective errors, some basic errors, things like there is more people, but non-impeding. So she comes out with a but not frequent, so she comes out with a 14, so which puts her overall just into the C1 band, which general agreement.
Yeah.
Good. Her next one, so range, bit of a range of marks there. So 78% put in the C1 band, for the purposes of those not seeing the screen. 17% said 60 to 69, the B2 plus range, and I think that's one person put 50 to 59, so kind of lower, kind of mid of the B2. So I put she had no problem discussing the topic, good command of vocab, uses some topic-specific vocab like bilateral agreements, improve and reduce poverty, people can contribute towards economic growth. So she does have some good use of collocation and some topic-specific vocab. I thought that she used quite naturally. She's not kind of searching for a word, I thought.
She was very at ease answering the questions, and
Yeah.
the vocabulary was completely appropriate, you know, and she's talking about, you know, it's a very controversial subject, she gives definitions. She even, you know, and she gives really, you know, quite good answers with specific examples about China at one point, I can't remember.
Oh yeah, about the...
And her communication language with the person who answered the question was quite personalised, which was quite nice, you know, sort of, you know, well, as you can see, you know, and referring, kind of really speaking to the person, which I thought was quite good.
Not only that, but she also demonstrated the ability to reformulate other people's questions when they weren't.
Exactly, yeah, she did.
Okay, so
yeah, she was reformulating and restating things. Yeah.
So she sort of, she does rephrase.
High.
Okay, so she's in the C1 bracket. Yeah, I put mostly rephrases to ensure my message is clear, rather than due to loss of language. So a dump, you know where they put the trash, and able to use words without hesitation.
We gave her 16.5 here for that.
Okay, I think she came up with 15.5. Let me have a look. Yeah, top end of, yeah, she can only have 15.5 or 16.75 if she's in the middle of the next band. I put her at the top end of the 70 to 79 band rather than into the 80s.
We put her in the 80s just because she was so effective at interpreting what people were saying and rephrasing, and I thought that was a really high level of skill.
Yeah. Okay, well, do you think higher? I didn't even put that as an option. Everyone put, but we put her at top end of that C1.1. Clear awareness of style and register. Extreme poverty is defined by, she says, as not as, but very occasional inconsistencies, but generally pretty good. Okay, so we can put her there. Her fluency, everyone's in agreement, she's C1. Not everyone actually, 60 to 69, 28% thought she was in the B2 plus range. I sort of put her in the, thought she spoke fluently and spontaneously, so she...
Yeah,
And her intonation was good as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so okay, should we bump her up a bit for that? Because I've put her at borderline. So if I put her in 70 to 79 for the fluent and spontaneous bit.
Yeah.
And I put 17.5, okay. And then her pronunciation, I think people probably, yeah, 70 to 79, 78%. Slight difficult. I found her a little bit difficult to understand at the very beginning when she kind of explained what her topic was. I thought she kind of garbled it a bit or something. I couldn't, I struggled to get exactly what she was saying then, but generally I thought she was clear.
Well, did you find, I find with all of these that you have to take time to tune into the accent of the individual.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same as the previous one you've listened to. So I tend to disregard pronunciation for sort of the first half a minute and leave.
I thought what she actually said though was just not clear, and I listened to it several times. I couldn't quite get a couple of the words. I couldn't quite get what she was trying to say. But then she threw out the rest of it. I thought she was very clear when she was actually speaking to the other students, and very effective use of stress and intonation. Bit where she said, but actually the money doesn't go to people. But I'd say no. I thought that was very good that she was able to do that. So should I bump her up a bit? So at the moment she's got 14, which is the sort of just into the C1. Should I put her in the middle of
I'd
C1?
put her a little bit higher for pronunciation.
Okay. Okay, let me just...
I don't know if everybody agrees.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would make her overall. I think people generally agreed. There was a bit more disagreement with the next girl. 15.1. Okay, that puts her at 72.5 or 73%. Does that seem about right?
Yeah.
So she's in this, yeah, she's sort of in the C1 band overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. And I'll go to amend that one. Okay. And so the last one, sample 3, which is the, I think she's Turkish. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah.
She gives an example of Turkey, doesn't she, at one point?
Oh, does she? I
didn't.
didn't, yeah.
Or something, yeah.
Wasn't that? Okay. Right. So for her content, there's a bit of, with a bit of a range. So I think that must be one person. 6% thought 30 to 39. Then we've got 25% 50 to 59. 31, 60 to 69, and 38.
What was the
70.
topic? That there are more men in advertising or on TV
To do with
generally?
tone of voice
what was
and
it?
influence, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
How the pitch of your voice can influence your power.
Yes.
She didn't have much to say there. I mean, she talked about adverts and she talked about that there were more men on TV, but that was kind of it, repeated over and over there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I put her as a 12, so kind of, you know, the B, well, I shouldn't say B2 for this because it's not actually really to do with your CFR level. It's so 60 to 69, so she would be kind of overall a pass, but a bare pass for her content delivery. I mean, given that she's only had 2 weeks to kind of put this stuff together, it's not her research or anything. She does refer to what she's read, which appears to be the BBC and social psychologists, whoever they may be. So, yeah, we're split, and some people thought she should be higher in the 70 to 79 rather than the 60 to 69. So, do we want to make her a bit higher? No?
Definitely not.
Okay, because she got a bit of a
I mean, the
spread
thing is,
on
the fact that she doesn't say very much and she just repeats, she keeps saying man's voices. And it just, you know, it's the same phrases over and over without going in any deeper into the subject. And you wonder, is it because she doesn't know about it, or does she not have the vocabulary or the language to talk about it? But at the end of the day, we don't really have any information about this. I could not tell you much more than there are more women on TV than men.
She does make a very nice point about where is it? Mostly men. These programs are dominated, and the thing about that women are mainly used to moderate or present programs rather than. And she makes a point about the BBC listening to feedback, but then she I thought she was quite good in she shows some sort of evaluation because she makes a point about women's voices being used to promote products for women or children because women look after children, which is a
point. She didn't refer to any information.
But I think she's referred to the information she's referred to the fact that they're used more in female and child-friendly products, and she shows some disagreement with that. So I think obviously for a pre-master student who had done more research, you would expect more of a kind of direct reference to.
Or even, as you were saying before, even without the research, I mean, anybody could kind of bullshit their way through this subject.
Yes.
But, you know, it doesn't really have much to say. Sorry?
Being recorded.
Sorry.
You're live.
I mean, with a good level of language, anybody could speak about this topic for 5 or 10 minutes on, you know, and I don't think she said anything particularly you know, I mean, and so the question is it language or is it research?
Yeah, but I think do you not find when you listen to most students, you kind of think why are you not pointing out the blatantly obvious? Sometimes, you know, that yeah, I think that there's a difference there in kind of what you think. You could come at a topic and come up with lots of different ideas. It's not necessarily the case.
And we're not marking them on their content and research, really.
With the language
No.
test, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yes, but
Apart from
in
the
a way, that's my point, that there isn't much language there.
I
I don't think she said an awful lot, apart from, you know, and man's voices. You know, if you can't check your key words.
She does rephrase.
Well, that's inaccuracy. She rephrases.
Okay, let's have a look at accuracy. Right, so there's a real spread here between 40 to 49 up to 70 to 79. So there's a massive range there. So let's have a look at the marking criteria and see where we think she is. So in terms of ability to explain points clearly, to get the B2.2, she needs to formulate language effectively, ensures message is clear. And I've put points, so do you think she doesn't do that? So put her down there, 50 to 59. If she doesn't quite do that. She's generally clear, but doesn't actually clarify her points that well. She does, it's a bit repetitive, as Diana was saying. Okay. Repetition, okay. For use of structures, though, I thought she did meet the criteria for the B2.2 because she does use a mix. But there is some limited flexibility, but she's not completely natural with it. But she does say mostly men's voices are being used. These programs are dominated by men. She does, you know, she does use more complex language. So I think she does demonstrate a range. She's not. That she doesn't use only short sentences, so I think she does meet that criteria for the 60 to 69. Okay, and then the errors, not error-free, but I no problem understanding. She did self-correct as well when she's saying there were critics. There was a lot of criticism. So she does actually demonstrate that she's able to correct her own but make mistakes as well. So that gives her 12.75.
However,
with those.
However, towards the end, she tried to make a point and then she couldn't. She just went, "I'll forget it," because she couldn't.
Is that due to her? I don't remember. I don't.
Was that language?
She tried to say
Research?
something, she didn't have the word, and she couldn't say it with you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't. I didn't
right at
catch
the
that.
end, and then when John cut her
Yeah,
off.
that's right. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, we were looking at John because
She was
he
thinking
just
for a word, and then John said, "Okay, time's up."
over. So that would give her an overall of the middle of B2.2, but so kind of in the middle of where people have thought. Does anyone think she should be higher or lower?
I'd put her a bit higher.
A bit higher. Okay. So
I mean, I'll take the points on the content. It seems as if she didn't really know much about the topic, but I thought the language was actually not too bad.
okay. Let me highlight that one as a possible. She should go into what, 13? So she's 12 points. She can only be top of B2.2 then, so she'd be 13.5. We think that's okay to make her 13.5 there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll have to amend that then. I don't think she's C1 really in any.
No.
So, okay, range. I think there's a big split here as well. Yeah, big split. So we've got ranging from 40 to 49, they're just barely into the B2, to 29% saying C1. Most people put, yeah, there's a complete split there. So I'd put her as the higher end, which I'd put her into just into the C1, which you may think is too high. So I put that she had a good command of vocab, able to discuss the topic without struggling for language. But then you're saying she did struggle for language.
I thought she was quite repetitive.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so let's knock her down a bit for that then. Say she was a bit repetitive. However, but with some repetition.
And And I don't think her language was particularly, there was nothing that, that was particularly specific. I thought it was fairly basic vocabulary that she was using.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, clear.
So we're saying clear, but okay. So we'll put her. Okay, we're knocking her down again now. Then, so let's. Okay, so that's knocking her down to the middle of B2 plus. If I knock her down to 13.5. Oh, sorry, top end of B2. So we're saying she had a good command, but with some repetition. She's able to cover gaps in her language well, and no obvious inappropriacy in the style and register.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then her fluency. Okay. So we got most people saying 60 to 69. Some people saying 70 to 79, and some saying 40 to 50, the B2 lower bit. I definitely didn't think she was the lower end. I thought she was quite able to speak quite fluently and spontaneously, I thought.
Yeah.
I thought she introduced points well, and she referred saying, according to social psychologists, there's also the argument that, so I thought she did link her points quite well, and she didn't just, say firstly, secondly, etc., and but.
Yeah.
I thought she did more than that, so I put her at the top end of that B2.2, which would be 13.5 marks. Does that seem okay, or do you think that's too?
I thought she was a bit high.
I
Bit
thought
high.
slightly higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just slightly.
Yeah, same here. Where could I mark her up then, and which bit so mark her up for the fluency and spontaneity bit?
No. Surely not. I just don't understand how she could ever get above 13.5 in any of these things.
Yeah.
I give her
Okay.
12 actually for fluency.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm knocking her back down again then. So she gets B2 plus. Okay, we'll see what she comes out overall. Okay, and then if we disagree, then we can. Okay, so pronunciation, a bit of a split. Majority said the B2 band, so which would mean she's generally understood, but there's some difficulty or some effort needed, basically. And 41% said she basically you're able to understand without any kind of careful listening. And she varies intonation and stress correctly to express finer shades of meaning. I don't think she does that in the way that the second student does, where she actually does use intonation and stress to really clarify her point and emphasise points. I thought it was clear, but I don't think it's...
I think she did use stress intonation to some extent. Yeah, maybe not quite as much as the second one, but she did use it. It was clear throughout, with no difficulty at all, I thought.
She did mispronounce a few words and cause a bit of trouble. Which was the word near the beginning?
Maybe I need to...
Bird. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah.
What was she saying? Well, that was wrong, and I'll just make a note of it.
I can't remember what it was. She repeated it a few times and the audience having trouble.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was word or vert. I can't remember.
Okay. I put some mispronunciation due to L1. Okay, so that if we go with those marks, that would give her 65. How did everyone come out? So that would give her B2.
Yeah, 62 I gave her.
62? Okay.
So it's close.
Close. So within the B2.2 band there.
Give her
So
65.
65. Yeah, so that would mean the first guy got, so the strongest student got 73. That, the student 3 has now got 65, and the first student got 48. Does that seem right? Good stuff.
Sorry, say that again. The one we've just done, what did she get?
The one that we've just done got 65 overall.
And the second one, 73?
70, yeah.
72.
To me, that seems like a small difference. I thought the second one was really, in terms of command of language, dramatically better than the last one.
She does get, I mean, she comes into the other bands. You see, she is coming into the C1 band. She's a whole different kind of band level.
Yes. But at the end
so,
of the day, we've got 8 points different. And I mean, I know when we've gone through the detail, that's what it comes out as. It just strikes me that, you know, there's a very little difference in the outcome of the grade, and there seems a huge difference in, you know, in their poster presentations and their language ability and their pronunciation and absolutely everything.
I don't know. I think,
huge difference.
No, I think when you look at the descriptions of what she has done, then she like Mike was saying last time, if you look at kind of what they're aiming for and then decide whether they have demonstrated it at some point or not, she does make errors, but they don't, you know, she does use some topic-specific vocab. She does speak fairly. I would say she's pretty fluent, and she's able to speak spontaneously, and she's able to answer questions. And you know, in terms of the content, which isn't really a huge proportion of the marks.
The other girl, the middle girl, is very confident, which gives the impression of being better, I think.
Yeah. I agree. I think her confidence and her,
she actually speaks more.
She's maybe able to bullshit more, but that comes across as being.
Yes, it is that as well. We've got more language to judge her on.
Yeah.
You know, so.
We should have it as a criteria, that ability to bullshit effectively.
You will do well at university. That's all it's about. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. That's really helpful. We've got those, and I will finalise those and forward those to everybody and upload them. So actually, I'll just upload them so you don't get another email. So we can see what the overall marks are for teachers and obviously students to look at. We should possibly point out to students when we show them that this was not based on their research and their coursework one, so this was done with them just being given a topic and told to prepare something. So we would expect more in terms of being able to refer to actual specific sources than these students do. I would suggest
also that when things are recorded to be used like this, I think it would always be a good idea to have a close up of the poster itself to see what information is on there.
Yes, so you can explain that to the external or whatever. Yeah, good. Okay, if people have got 5 minutes, there's a couple of points on the Padlet for things to discuss. So first we had the minor amendment to the exam 4 and 6, which is what we discussed previously. So I've put through a proposal for the PAVCA committee, which basically says, so for EX4, which currently is the reading and writing exam, and the writing part has got 0% attached to it. So what we found is students really take that literally and go, well, I'm not going to bother. So the idea of it being like a fallback kind of hasn't worked because students have just gone, well, it's not important. So we have amended it, or proposed to amend it, so that we will take the higher of the 2 writing marks. So if a student has a bad day in their later exam, then we've got the earlier mark to use. So for students, it will say that we will take the higher of these 2 marks. So basically, don't turn up to an exam and not bother to write anything and anything of use or value. Yeah. So that's that.
I think that's a really good change.
So that will hopefully get agreed soon.
When you say soon, do you mean in time for
Yes,
May?
It's going to an immediate change. Yes. So it's just formalising it so that, because we kind of agreed that we would be able to use that first mark because it was done under exam conditions. But I think what we have realised is that if students think it's non-contributory, it massively affects their effort level. I can't get my head around it because I'm a swot, but you know, and one student said, well, I didn't really try. You know, well, why did you turn up then? What did you decide to not show what you knew about the subject? I don't know. Or that you could put sentences in an order. We'll come back to this feedback on coursework 1 because I think that's a discussion that we need to have in a bit more depth than a 5-minute thing. Progresso, have you got summative screens or not?
No.
Right, because I said at a meeting on Tuesday, I don't think anyone's got the summative assessment screens. And Paul said, yes, they have. And I said, no, I'm pretty sure that they haven't. And I've got a spreadsheet which I've been told I can't disseminate because then nobody will use Progresso. But where are you storing the marks at the moment?
Spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That will be so pleased. Okay, well, I mean, I don't know how we can, what we can do. So, okay, I'll follow that up. I just needed to find out.
They'll go on Progresso eventually, obviously. But...
Yeah, but it's just not, you don't have the summative screens at the moment. Okay, right.
Well, here in Kingston we do have.
Ooh, look at you.
I have been keeping a dual track of it because I do have a spreadsheet with it. Makes it easier for me to see the marks all bunched together. But we also have the page here on Progresso.
Ah, so okay, that's interesting. So Kingston does. I think Sussex does, but
Sussex does.
We have a hands here, so we have a person dedicated to who does all our Progresso stuff.
Wow.
So we don't use Matt, and well, it's not going to be Matt anymore, and no longer Boris. So I don't know what's happening there. Okay, so Kingston does, but nobody else does. Okay, right. When assessments are being delivered in centres, I will set up a calendar if people could, and I'll send you the link. I was going to do it on the Heads of English site, but I'm not sure that's the best format. Just so we can see when assessments are being delivered, and I can stop hassling people to put results into the data reporting sheet when you haven't used the exam. So we can track when things are being used. So I will set that up. Kieran has got a question about resit policies.
Yes, a question about here. I couldn't remember what we said, if we agreed anything at all. Are we giving each exam at the end, or are you doing it two, or?
I think that is down to the logistics of your centre. Each summative assessment should have a resit opportunity, and I think ideally if you can arrange that resit to be done before the end of term, a semester or term, I think that's better if you can. Simon, can you say what we're doing?
We're getting resubmissions of the coursework 1 writing and reading parts that they've done, and they're being resubmitted next Monday.
Yeah, same here next Friday.
We can't do that.
We can't do that.
You mean the outline?
Yes.
Yeah.
Crikey.
We've
Okay.
been told we can't publish any results or allow any resits until after the
Marlborough Pab.
Yes, so it does vary by some universities. Some partners have very strict rules, and I know in Strathclyde they have a first attempt, and they kind of term it differently as well. So it does kind of depend on if you have specific requirements. But at Sussex we don't, so we are able to do it closer to actual submission or taking of the assessment.
I think the logic of that was so that, they can continue correctly for the rest of the research essay.
Yeah.
With those bits of coursework which are part of the process of their producing the essay, they need to get it right before they carry on, don't they? So.
You've done a draft of that as well? Or is it submitted once?
It's submitted once and then resubmitted.
Okay, all right. We have a drafting process for that.
Okay. Okay, so maybe hopefully then your resubmission bit for that is kind of what's the word?
Negates the need to resubmit.
Yes, thank you. For those words. Moot. That's the word I was looking for. So the other thing. Query was applying fluency and pronunciation descriptors for B2 plus and C1 in seminars and presentations. So I think that came up. I'll just clarify then what marks are available. So you're either bottom, middle or top of that bigger band to say whether you're just B2 or if you're very top end of. And we've just got 3 marks available as with the others. And then it's a bit difficult, isn't it? Because you can either understand them most of the time, or it's difficult to then decide whether if there are kind of further instances or not, or whatever. So yeah, but I think if we just keep it as bottom, middle, or top.
And middle
Even though
is actually the, like, 16 as opposed to 15.5.
So we had for that one where the B2, so B2.2 is a separate descriptor for fluency and coherence, and you've got B2 the 40 to 49 and the 50 to 59 as 1, so we would have 8, 10 or 11.5 as to whether you were bottom, middle or top of those. And then the same for the pronunciation has got a bigger band, so it would go 8, 11.5 or 13.5. Like that, so I'll just put that in. Okay, brilliant. Has anyone got any other queries or questions or anything?
Nope.
No. Good. Okay. If anything comes up, then if you want to stick a note on the Padlet, and if any issues come up with any of the assessments or anything like that, then obviously just let me know as soon as possible. Brilliant. Okay. I will sort out when we can do the get together for the moderation session. It's moderation, we're calling it now. So that will be, I presume, once we've had some some of the probably exam 4, so we can use those as a sample of the marking for the writing. And we'll get together and just do like this, but looking at a sample of each other's to make sure everyone is in line with each other. Good stuff. Okay, great. All right, thanks very much for your time, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.